This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Eagles adding Julio Jones to their receiver room, which also includes A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Philadelphia signing Jones to a one-year contract. Can Aaron Rodgers return this season from a torn Achilles tendon? Don't bet against it, according to Jets coach Robert Saleh. On Good Morning Football, Saleh said Rodgers is on a mission, already is doing some very advanced things for this stage of his recovery. Added the Jets are leaving the door open for a possible return this season. That potential return addressed by Rodgers.
That's the goal. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to put a timetable on it specifically. That makes absolutely no sense. Anybody that doesn't realize that there's a lot of things that have to happen to get to that point. But it's going to have to be jogging and then explosive moments and then practicing and then everybody's signing off on it. And, hopefully we get to have those conversations.
Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee Show. Diamondbacks seek to even up the NLCS when they visit the Phillies. Game 2 tonight, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Philadelphia slugger Bryce Harper, plus 350 odds to hit his 5th home run of this postseason tonight, according to Caesars Sportsbook.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. And we got a ton to do today. Scott Shanley, 1 hour from right now. Sean Salisbury in hour number 3. A LSU offensive lineman honored. We'll get there in 15 minutes. Saints-Jags on a short week. Derek Carr met with reporters on Monday and apologized to Pete Carmichael for their outburst on the sideline Sunday in Houston. It was late in the game if you missed it, and Carr admitted afterwards to being, quote, livid with the way things transpired. Here was Derek Carr talking about his outburst with Pete Carmichael.
I apologized to Pete actually on the airplane. Said I was talking to Pete, but I wasn't talking about Pete. Pete and I know exactly what I was talking about and why. And when the game's on the line, that's when you have to be on every detail of your assignment. And I was a little upset at some of those things, and so it had nothing to do with Pete. He just happened to be the one that walked up when I was a little angry.
I can certainly understand that. I can appreciate the explanation there. The struggles have a lot to do with Pete Carmichael. They also have a lot to do with Derek Carr, who in his career has not been a great red zone quarterback, and we're seeing a lot of those issues continue to manifest. But Carr took the culpability for what's been going on with this offense.
I never have blamed a coach. I never will blame a coach because they're not the ones standing on the field. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, I've always been like, I don't care what play you call. We should be able to execute something, And obviously we know things happen, right? But, they have a good call or whatever. But I've always felt like, man, I don't like that mentality of pointing a finger. I don't like that mentality at all. I always felt like, if you call something, I'm going to do my best to make that happen, no matter the situation, no matter what, whether I agree or disagree. I am human. I do have those feelings. I'm just going to do my best to execute.
So I can certainly respect you got a veteran quarterback here who is taking culpability for what's going on with the offense, but there's a lot they have to get fixed in a very, very short amount of time. Again, of course, the Saints lost on Sunday. They traveled home Sunday, but it's an easy flight from Houston. I mean, it's probably about 45 minutes. I mean, as soon as you reach your cruising altitude, you begin your descent. So easy trip home for the Saints, and then they turn around very quickly. You get your treatment on Monday, you're practicing on Tuesday, you're walking through on Wednesday, and then you're playing on Thursday. I think of greater consequence on a short week always is the injury report. Literally minutes ago, the injury report was published. So the Saints had a walkthrough today, Tuesday. Let's run through it real quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same 6 players that were listed as the injury report on Monday. That was a theoretical injury report, an expected injury report had they practiced, although they didn't. It's the same people. So here's the ones that did not practice: Juwan Johnson, J.T. Gray, Landon Young, James Hurst, Ryan Ramczyk, and Demario Davis. Of note there, obviously, Demario Davis, you hope to get him back sincerely, but you've got 3 offensive linemen, including 2 starters there. So James Hurst and Ryan Ramczyk not practicing is a big deal. And Ramczyk, with the concussion, I think it's highly unlikely that you'd see Ryan Ramczyk play on Thursday being in the concussion protocol. You suffer that concussion on Sunday, it's nearly impossible to imagine that quick of a turnaround. Landon Young is one of your backup tackles. He's been out with the hip injury, didn't practice. So, the in-game option that you had on Sunday was you kicked Cesar Ruiz out to right tackle. So you had Trevor Penning at left tackle, Cesar Ruiz at right tackle. We saw rookie Nick Saldiveri at guard along with Max Garcia because Andres Pete was out with the groin injury. So you're a mess. I mean, you're a mess on the offensive line, and it doesn't look great in short order. The hope, sincere hope, would be you get Andres Pete back. And just saying those words out loud, it's kind of a problem, right? When your big hope is that you get Andres Pete back. But I'd look at it from a standpoint of he's a veteran guy that's played a lot. At least he's a really good run blocker, which is something you've lacked. And if you could put Andres Pete there at left guard and Trevor Penning at left tackle, at least your left side of the line is respectable. Is that a good way to put it? You could always put Max Garcia at right guard. If Cesar Ruiz has to play right tackle, save a better option, which I don't know what you have. But again, I watched Sunday Night Football where the Giants pulled Justin Pugh off the couch. Literally on the Sunday Night Football intro, Justin Pugh of the Giants, when everyone says their school, he says Justin Pugh straight off the couch. That's literally what he said because he was out of the league on his couch when the Giants called him. He started at left guard. They immediately had an injury at left tackle, so Justin Pugh kicked out and played left tackle. From the couch to blocking your other team's best edge rusher. So, look, it's the NFL. I mean, we all say next man up, but to some degree it's true. You don't have an option of pausing and stopping and waiting. You got to go. So who's available? The rest of the everyone else listed on the injury report was limited. Lonnie Johnson, Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Olave. We mentioned Andres Pete with the groin. Jamal Williams. Then I should mention Derek Carr, but Derek Carr was a full participant. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the injury report is not nearly as lengthy as the New Orleans Saints injury report, but the gigantic name on the list, of course, is Trevor Lawrence, who had the knee injury on Sunday. Here was so he is officially listed as limited on the injury report for Tuesday. Officially listed as limited on the injury report for Tuesday. But here was Adam Schefter with an update on Trevor Lawrence from NFL Live.
Described to me as not so significant, which is the good news. The bad news is they play Thursday night on a short week at New Orleans against the Saints. It's going to be more difficult than ever for Trevor Lawrence to get ready for that game. If he can't play, C.J. Beathard would be the Jaguar starters. They'll monitor Lawrence this week.
So there's a lot of video from the media viewing, pictures and video from the media viewing portion of practice in Jacksonville on Tuesday, where Trevor Lawrence is out there, a heavy brace on his left knee, the type of brace that metal brace you would see a lineman wear on his left knee, and he was out there just a walkthrough, just jerseys and shorts, and helmets and shorts, and just lightly throwing passes. So Lawrence was out there. We'll see if he's able to go for Jacksonville on Thursday in New Orleans. But as for the Saints, The opening line for this game, it's right now the Saints a 1-point favorite. Told you my feelings on it. I think the Saints win the game. I think you have a bounce back when you're embarrassed. Generally, at this level, when you're embarrassed the way the Saints were, you respond. I think there is good player leadership on this team, veteran leadership with guys like Cam Jordan and with Tyrann Mathieu and Derek Carr, Demario Davis. I think the Saints have a nice bounce back at home on a short week, catching Jacksonville. I mean, I thought this even before we knew about the injury to Trevor Lawrence, but it's a nice bounce back spot for New Orleans. I think the real big issue with New Orleans, though, is the long-term issue. In a vacuum, in a one-game sample, can the Saints go play well at home on Thursday night against a team with an injured quarterback on a short week? Yes. Is it something that the Saints can replicate week in and week out? I don't know so much that I believe that. Dennis Allen did meet with reporters on Monday, and, they were asked about a lot. I mean, the red zone issues or something. I think everyone's asking the right questions. How are communication issues still a thing in week 6? Why do you have red zone issues? Your Cesar Ruiz going to right tackle. Is that always the issue if there was an issue with Ryan Ramczyk? But, mostly I think, for this team this week, the biggest question is going to be these injuries on the offensive line. And this is number 9, Muse. Dennis Allen was asked, how do you handle, for a group that's been bad this year, objectively bad, how do you handle all these injuries on a short week?
We'll see exactly where we're at. I mean, obviously, Ryan had the concussion in the game and Hurst had a foot, so kind of see how that plays out throughout the week. And if they're unable to go, then, obviously some other guys are going to have to step up.
Who those other guys are that'll step up. If you had them, you'd be playing them already. So I don't know that Thursday night football is going to be a thing of beauty. It's hardly going to be a Van Gogh or a Picasso, but the Saints need to scratch out a win, and they got a good opportunity to do it on Thursday night football in the Dome. All right, it is after further review. I should have done this as we started, but we do start every day. Reminding you about our friends over at Mockler.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, Thursday's the day. Of course, it is Thursday night football. We got our AFR watch party. I'm looking forward to that. Our winner's been notified. We'll have a great time over at the Slattery, which is the on-premise bar there at Mockler. And looking forward to hanging out with some listeners and watching the Saints game, and hopefully the Saints pulling out a win. But that's not the only thing going on Thursday. And I tell you all the time, our friends over at Mockler and Bud Light are great supporters of so many community events. This week, Mockler Beverage and Bud Light are sponsoring the CCA Star Banquet. That's actually sponsored by Ultra, another Mockler product. And then Saturday, of course, the LSU Army game out at Tiger Stadium. You have the Bud Light fan zone outside of the PMAC with live music. Make sure you get on by, see our friends over from Mockler Beverage. Drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers and the New Orleans Saints. Okay, it's after further review, y'all. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. LSU offensive linemen and the line as a whole honored. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Monday, the state of Louisiana rolled out its second window for fortified roofing grants. I've told you about fortified roofing in the past. This is an extra layer of protection for your roof, which is designed to prevent water intrusion. You may still have wind damage, hail damage, but this is designed to prevent damage to the interior of your home, which can really get costly. And the state of Louisiana is awarding grants up to $10,000 in grants for Louisiana homeowners for a fortified roof. So if you're interested, go to HudcoRoofing.com, HudcoRoofing.com. Click the green Fortified tab right there on the homepage. You'll see the form. You can learn more about fortified roofing, and you can fill out that form if you'd like us to help you. We can help you with that whole grant process and installing the fortified roof at your home. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
The first ever Baton Rouge Kids on the Catwalk Dreams Come True fashion show is coming up October 26th at the Country Club of Louisiana. Dream Kids will be walking the catwalk with local dignitaries as their escorts, including Flynn Foster and Richard Condon. Admissions include dinner and an open bar. There will also be a live and silent auction featuring celebrity auctioneer T-Bob Hebert. Purchase your tickets or tables online at dctofla.com.
So T-Bob's trying to get people to spend their money.
Yes.
Ooh.
In a fast-talking auctioneer way.
I hope he doesn't go that route. I've done a lot of those auctions in the past. You get, just over the years, charity events. It's almost like if you've ever talked into a microphone, people who organize events, they think, oh, you can do this. But there's really a skill to the auctioneering thing. You can't do that again, unless if you're a skilled, huh?
That'd be so good there.
No, unless if you were a skilled auctioneer, don't do that. Don't do that. It's
sold.
Yeah, no. It's a
to the man in the blue coat.
You gotta know. You got to be trained to do that. Trust me. I know. I've worked with professional auctioneers in the past. You got to be trained to do that. The other best way to do it is just to keep it light. Just tell jokes, kind of pressure people. That's the hard thing. You got to pressure people and almost kind of embarrass them if they don't spend their money. Like once you get people who are who are bidding, you kind of be, there's always the one where it's like it's the man who's at the table bidding, or the wife is at the table bidding. And she keeps looking at the husband, like, don't look at him. Look right here, Yeah, are you really going to let her bow out here, guy? And then everybody's, you know what I mean? You got to kind of be that guy. Okay. But you're raising money.
Yeah,
you got to
for
realize
a good cause.
what you're doing it for.
There you go, exactly.
I'm sure T-Bob's going to nail it.
Yeah, no, I have no doubts.
Oh, I have my doubts. Lots of doubts. All right, it's after further review, but a great event. That's next when? When is it?
It's a week from Thursday, October the 26th.
Thursday. Dreams Come True Louisiana is a great organization. Miss Becky does a great job. And for those that don't know, Dreams Come True, it grants dreams for children with life-threatening or terminal illness. I'm not sure there's a better cause. So if you can make it, get on out there and be generous. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're with us. Hat tip Charles Turner, LSU's fifth-year senior center, was named the Outland Trophy National Player of the Week. If you're not familiar, the Outland is given annually to the best interior lineman in college football, either side of the ball. Glenn Dorsey won the Outland back in 2007. Chad Lavallee was a finalist in 2003. Alan Faneca was a finalist back in 1997. Ethan Posick was a semifinalist back in 2016. So the really interesting about Turner is, remember, Turner just a week ago against Missouri left the game with a hyperextended knee. They thought it might be serious. They really dodged a bullet. But, man, a week after leaving the game against Missouri with a knee injury, Turner's back out there playing. LSU runs for 200 yards for the third consecutive week, and he wins the Outland National Player of the Week, which is phenomenal. And you know what? Man, kudos to Charles Turner, because he's a guy that I think most fans can respect and appreciate, because he's a little bit of a throwback and certainly an outlier in that he waited his turn. If Charles Turner was on the 2019 National Championship team, you realize there are only 3 players left on LSU's team that played in 2019? It was Charles Turner, John Emery, and Josh Williams. That's it. Those 3 were true freshmen in 2019. Those are the only 3 players left that played on that team in 19. And when you think about Charles Turner, he came in from IMG, and he was really skinny. He was like a 250-pound center. I mean, he was really thin. They had to put weight on him. And so they knew he was going to redshirt, and he bided his time. And last year really was supposed to be his opportunity. And remember, you had they brought in Liam Shanahan from Harvard, if you remember, ended up playing center for a couple of seasons, which was really, some people thought, kind of maybe a commentary on the lack of development from Charles Turner, that you had to go to Harvard and bring in Shanahan, who hadn't played center. And then last year was supposed to be his year. Man, you get the opener against Florida State and Garrett Dellinger starting at center, which just kept being a reflection. We talked about it so much. It was just a reflection on Turner. And if it was the fact that he didn't practice well or whatever the case may be, ultimately they got to the point after that Florida State game where it was like, kid, you got to play. And he played really well last year. Kept getting better as the season went along. And then even late in the year, you saw Marlon Martinez play well, but Turner just kept throwing him out the boat, man. He just kept on keeping on. So in that respect, I think it's a great testament to patience and perseverance. And it's great to see a guy like Charles Turner have the success that he's having. So congrats to Charles Turner, who was named the Outland Trophy National Player of the Week. And not only Charles Turner, but I wanted to take a quick second and give some kudos to Brad Davis, the LSU offensive line coach. The Joe Moore Award, which is given annually to the best offensive line as a unit, today announced their midseason honor roll, and LSU was on the list. So remember, this is given to the offensive. This is an award given to the offensive line as a group. LSU won it back in 2019, and it was so interesting because a year ago on this show, I fielded a lot of calls and texts and emails and tweets from you saying, "Hey man, should they fire Brad Davis? He ain't the guy. This offensive line stinks. Is Brad Davis overrated?" It was a lot of that. And I understand, because the line went through tremendous turnover and tumult last year. But the thing I kept saying over and over, so much that I'm about to say it again, and you probably know exactly what I'm going to say. LSU used 6 different line combinations through its first 8 games a year ago. You ended up starting a true freshman at left tackle and at right tackle. That had never happened before. It was a mess a year ago. And look at where you are now. I mean, you used 3 different centers on the road against Missouri and still put up 500 yards of offense. 3, including a true freshman in DJ Chester, after Marlon Martinez couldn't get the snaps after Charles Turner was injured. Think about it. 3 different centers, including a true freshman. And then against Auburn, Emory Jones gets hurt. You put a true freshman in at right tackle and Lance Hurd, and you don't miss a beat. When you look at this unit as a whole now, I mean, you have a unit that is veteran, that is experienced, that have a combined, your 5 starters have a combined 127 starts in their LSU career. All of your starters now have started at least 20 career games. Because now you look at Campbell and Emory Jones. Hurd is going to start with Jones out, but understand Jones is your starter right tackle is what I mean. Have started at least 20 games. You've got experience, you've got talent, and you've got a really good cohesive unit right now on the offensive line. So major kudos to Brad Davis as well, who persevered through the struggles of a year ago to build this line now where you've got 5 really good starters. You like Martinez and Chester rotating in, Lance Hurd rotating in. I mean, you got 8 or 9 guys you really like and feel like you can count on in a game situation right now, and the future's bright. Hurd and Chester are true freshmen. Campbell and Jones are both back next year for their junior seasons. And then you got 4 2024 offensive line commits as well, and you could always go supplement in the portal if you need to. So not only is this unit playing at an exceptionally high level, but the future is really bright. And it's something we talked about from the day Brian Kelly was hired. The 2 positions he has recruited and developed and pumped into the NFL more than any other tight end, offensive line, and you're already seeing that manifest. So congrats to Charles Turner, named the Outland Trophy National Player of the Week, and to the LSU offensive line, named to the Joe Moore Award midseason honor roll for the best offensive line in college football. All right, it's after further review. LSU did lose a commitment for 2024. I'll talk about that in just a quick second. Remember our friends over at DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, use the promo code Baton Rouge if you're a new customer. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on anything, and they'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. It's so easy to use. Payments are quick and easy anytime you want to cash out. There's so many other different ways that you can connect to your DraftKings account to deposit money as well. I like to use Venmo. I just connect my Venmo to DraftKings. I just tap a few buttons. Boom, I got money in my account. It's the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Make a play on anything you want. They got 3 college football games tonight. You got 3 college football games tonight. You got Major League Baseball tonight. I mean, you got football every single day through like Christmas now. So you want to play, get in on the action. It's way more fun when you got a little something on the game. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers make a $5 bet. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. So coming off a gigantic recruiting weekend for LSU where they picked up 2 commitments and had 15 top 150 players in the country, there was so much good news. You were bound to have a little bit of a retraction as well, and that happened on Tuesday. 4-star wideout Joseph Stone decommitted from LSU's class of 2024. Stone is out of Georgia, and he's been committed for a long time. He committed back in July of 2022. So you're talking about 15 months he's been committed to LSU. He was in town for the Arkansas game, but now has decommitted from the class of 2024. He's rated as the 299th overall player in the country, the 46th best wide receiver, 35th best player in the state of Georgia. Recently visited UCF and Louisville. So maybe an indicator of the caliber of program that he's more likely to land at, if that makes sense. I think it generally goes like this. When you get a commitment from a guy, like as a fan base, right? If you look at it through a fan's lens, you get a commitment from a guy, he's going to the Hall of Fame. 5-star, going to the Hall of Fame, All-American, Heisman, put him in the Heisman. If a guy that's committed decommits, or if someone picks another school over you, well, he was overrated, didn't really want him anyway. It's just generally how those conversations go. I don't really concern myself with that part of the conversation. For me, I don't know what the truth is. I don't know if LSU felt like sometimes staffs have conversations with recruits and say, hey, we're probably not going to take you. You may want to go look elsewhere. And sometimes a player may just have better options. So, I don't know what the reality is with Joseph Stone, and quite honestly, I don't really care. Because good for him. Hopefully he gets a great opportunity. And for LSU, hopefully they sign some really good players, which I'm sure they will, especially at wide receiver. So the question really is, how does the wide receiver room look without Joseph Stone. So that's where I kind of take inventory. In 2024, you're going to lose Malik Neighbors, you're going to lose Brian Thomas, and you're going to lose Kyron Lacey. You're going to lose those three guys. Okay? And those are your three best, and they're all going to be gone. Chris Hilton will have the opportunity to come back. We'll see if he does. My assumption is he will. See if he can stay healthy and be one of the top 2 or 3 primary targets for a season. But if you get Chris Hilton back, you should have Aaron Anderson back as well. And then this great group of freshmen that came in this year. Shelton Sampson, Kyle Parker, Jalen Brown, Kai Preon, they'll all be back. And then Landon Ibieta is still there as well. Remember, Ibieta signed last year. He had some injury issues that have really plagued him last year, kept him out of most of fall camp. So we haven't really seen Ibieta, but that's another scholarship receiver that you have on the roster right now. And then you got 3 receiver commitments right now with Kylan Billiot, Jelani Watkins, and Michael Turner. So Hilton, Anderson, Sampson, Parker, Brown, Preon, Ibieta, and then the 3 commits, that's 10. Assuming you don't lose anybody. I mean, you certainly could have somebody transfer out. It wouldn't surprise me if you did. And then you could always go address receiver in the portal if there's a player available. Remember, the last 2 years, LSU has gotten a receiver out of the portal. Last year, they went and got Kyron Lacey, and this year they went and got Aaron Anderson. So I guess the way I look at it is your numbers are going to be good. What you probably won't have next year is a guy that's a proven number 1, but plenty of options of guys that could step up and be that number 1. And LSU's always had that guy do that, step up to that primary role. Remember in 2020, you had 2019 with the great year with Marshall and Chase and Jefferson. In 2019, you roll forward to 2020, and Jamar Chase opts out. He was going to be back, but Jamar Chase opts out of the season. And then you have a guy in Terrace Marshall who played really well, then midseason opted out. Well, the second half of the season, who blew up? Kayshon Boutte. And so then you come back into 2021, and Kayshon's having the great start to the season. He breaks his leg against Kentucky, and what happens? Malik Neighbors steps up. And then Malik, last year, when Kayshon was kind of hit or miss, Malik continued to see his star shine, and Malik's a dude this year, and Brian Thomas has emerged behind him. So you've always had that guy step up and be the primary target, and LSU's just never been lacking for elite-level receivers. So I don't know who it will be next year. I would love to see it be Chris Hilton, a local guy, wait his turn, maybe get healthy and have the opportunity to be that dude. Sampson, Parker, Brown, 3 elite-level receivers that are freshmen in this class that could see it, or maybe it's a transfer. Maybe you have the opportunity to go get an elite-level transfer next year to come in and be your number 1 guy. I don't know. We'll see you across the bridge. But while it's disappointing to see a guy like Stone decommit, it's always disappointing when you see someone decommit. When you just look at the numbers and who is there, LSU at receiver seems like they're in really good hands. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, title sponsor of our Tuesday shows all throughout the year. And you ain't never heard no country song about anything other than a John Deere. So you know what to do. You want a John Deere in Louisiana, you're getting it from Sunshine, 17 locations from Bunkie and below. Sunequip.com, SUNEQUIP, sunequip.com. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. Dabo Sweeney steps in it again. LSU women's basketball with a first in program history. We'll get to that. And Scott Shanley in 30 minutes from right now. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers Nicholson, just south of campus, and Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. Tuesday night. Tuesday's always a great opportunity to get by Pluckers. Remember, I told you got 3 college football games tonight. So you can get on by and watch all 3 college football games, and you got the Major League Baseball playoffs tonight as well. So if you want to watch college football action, the Pelicans play the Magic tonight at 6 o'clock. So if you want to watch a little NBA preseason action, you can do that as well. And if you're interested in the Major League Baseball playoffs, you got Arizona-Philly Game 2 tonight from Philly. You can watch that as well. So get on by Pluckers. Every Tuesday, kids eat free. So parents buy your entree, kids eat free. Also Tuesday, at the Nicholson location at 8:30, Hunt Palmer hosts sports trivia. So get your team together, test your sports knowledge, and win Pluckers gift cards. It's Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
His name was King. He had a horse along the country. We can go to the show, we can stay right here, and I can take you for a ride on my big green tractor. We can go slow or make it go faster, down through the woods and out to the pasture, long as I'm with you.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, Muse, what is it?
The Big Green Tractor by Jason Aldean.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, his big green tractor.
A John Deere.
John Deere, yeah.
And if he lived in Louisiana, you know where he bought it?
Sunshine.
You're damn right he did. Sunequip.com. Sunequip.com. A lot of y'all sent us some ideas last week, so thank you for tractor songs, because I told Muse, just tractor songs. Give me John Deere tractor songs on Tuesday here as we talk about Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. People buy green, man. Resale value is great. The aftermarket value, there's just nothing like it. You got parts, you got service. Farmers depend on Sunshine staff to keep up to date with all the technology. They got a really cool app, too, where it's almost like Life 360 for your tractor. I've told you this story before, but there was a farmer who saw one of his farm hands who was about to fertilize a field. He was looking at the app, and he had just fertilized that field. So he called us, hey, what are you doing? I just fertilized the field. Save time and money. So it's just worth it, man. Our friends over at Sunshine are awesome. Thursday, I'm going to be on a tractor. How about that? Said, what do I need to wear? They're like boots.
And jeans. From overalls.
No.
Yeah.
I said, please bring me a
little straw hat.
No. I said, bring me a Sunshine shirt, right? So I can put it on. Because, I mean, my uniform every day. I mean, I'm not going to wear this out. But I'll put on some boots and some jeans, and I'm getting on a tractor, man. Those things are awesome, bro. The combines are, man, when I went over there the first time, you're riding around on a $250,000 piece of machinery. It's insane. It's insanity how awesome those things are. You push a button, it just runs itself. It's air-conditioned cabin. You could, stream in there, Bluetooth. They got a radio. You can listen to 104.5 ESPN or wherever you are. If you're down in NOLA, you'll listen to 100.3. You're up there in Cenla, 94.7. Over in Laffey, 103.7. In the Chuck, 104.1. Just pumping AFR into your John Deere. Love it. They also got a little bucket in the back where you put ice and put your cold drinks.
That's important.
That's for the end of the day.
It's essential to farming.
A Bud Light for the end of the day. Yeah.
Lunch.
Why not? I'm trying to get people an out here muse. The day's over. You know what I mean?
It's never a bad time for a cold beer, man.
Well, if you're driving, I don't know the laws. Can you drive a tractor if you've had a beer? I don't know. I don't know the laws. I don't know the laws. Just trying to keep us legal here, Muse. Don't get me in trouble, all right? All right. Sunshine, sunequip.com. All right, it's after further review. I got to talk about Dabo in a second. Real quick, though, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Did you hear what Shane Beamer did? What an idiot. Shane Beamer broke his foot. He kicked something after the Florida game. He didn't say what he kicked, but he broke his foot. Gamecocks dropped to 2-4, 1-3 in the league. Said, quote, after the game, I was frustrated. I kicked something I shouldn't have kicked. Said he was embarrassed. His kids saw it and all that stuff. Isn't sure if he'll have to undergo surgery, but obviously he's well enough to coach the rest of the season.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Zach Arnett gave no update on the status of quarterback Will Rogers for this week's game at Arkansas. Senior quarterback was injured October 7th against Western Michigan. If Rogers is out against Arkansas, expect Mike Wright, the Vandy transfer, to start. Freshman Chris Parson would be the backup.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Speaking of Arkansas, after 7 straight weeks of football and more than a month away from home, the injuries are piling up for the Razorbacks. They play Mississippi State at home on Saturday. Running back Rocket Sanders out with that knee injury. Defensive tackle Cameron Ball, starting cornerback Dwight McGlothern, both missed last week. Cam, according to Pittman, has a chance to play this week. Dwight McGlothern still to be determined. Also, starting linebacker Christopher Paul, ready to make his return to practice this week, but unsure if he'll play against State.
The Auburn Tigers.
And Jaden Lewis, a 2024 cornerback, 4-star recruit, is decommitted from Auburn. He was the first 2024 commit landed by Hugh Freeze and the new coaching staff. Picked Auburn back in February. He's the second decommit in the last week. Jalewis Solomon decommitted from Auburn and switched to South Carolina. Auburn's 2024 class now down to 16 players. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You know where to find them, gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale, that's what you always get. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, Lafayette, they do it all. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. They proudly sell the Savin line, but they will service all makes and models. Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com. There's a stat that I love to reference. It's a business statistic, but I think it's relevant to almost any industry in life. 52% of Fortune 500 companies from the year 2000 are out of business. Let's say that again. 52%, a little over half, of the Fortune 500 businesses from the year 2000 are out of business. That's what happens when you refuse to adapt. I love it because it's something that I use all the time in media. Because even in my relatively short career in media, we have seen transformative change because of the digital shift. Our industry has been disrupted. You're a fool if you don't see it. But a lot of industries have been disrupted. Now, I don't think that college football has been disrupted by the digital shift. I mean, it's part of it, but that's not what's disrupted college football. The point is you have to be able to evolve. And the evolution in college football has come via NIL and the transfer portal. And those that refuse to evolve and adapt to it and use it are destined to go the way of the 52% of Fortune 500 companies from the year 2000 that are now out of business. And Clemson's teetering there. Did you hear what Dabo Sweeney said on his coach's show Monday? If you missed it, give a listen.
We're at a point in our time, and I hate that, where, people, if you don't go undefeated, you're losers. You're terrible. And it's just such a terrible mindset, and honestly, maybe we need to lose a few games and lighten up the bandwagon. Sometimes the bandwagon can get a little too full. And, that's the one good thing about going through a little bit of so-called adversity is you really find out, who's with you and who's not.
What an absolutely terrible mindset. Yeah, maybe we should lose a few games so some of our fans stop paying attention to us. I mean, this is a guy who has bemoaned NIL, said that their program is built on NIL, name, image, and likeness of Christ, which I believe, I'm a Christian, I'm not minimized, but it's a foolish statement in context. He refuses to use the transfer portal as an asset. I mean, the program that looked poised a half decade ago to be the heir to the throne of Alabama, and to where people were talking about Dabo potentially being the replacement for Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, they are eroding. Their championship culture is eroding. This will be the third consecutive year they missed the playoff. And tell me if you see light at the end of the tunnel for this program where they refuse to adapt and evolve. And Clemson is staring down the barrel those 52% of Fortune 500 companies from the year 2000 that are out of business. Clemson is in that number in the college football world. And it is so apparent to everyone except the guy who's the CEO of the organization. I'm not crying for Dabo. Just pointing out the obvious, which everyone can see except him. Okay, it's after further review. Someone who is never becoming complacent is Kim Mulkey. Another first for the LSU women's basketball program. We'll get to that to wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources. Man, I am so fired up to have Glow Resources as a part of the AFR family. As I mentioned to you before, I've known Jareth Knockan for a while, and what Glow Resources is doing is, you talk about disruption, that's Glow, GLO, glowresources.com. Glow is not a temp staffing agency. As a matter of fact, if you're someone looking for work, don't call Glow. They're like the way that they recruit their candidates for employment is different. They're good. Most of it's word of mouth. If you're a company that needs a better hiring solution, you need Glow. If you need a company that's going to handle everything, workers' comp, child support, deductions, health insurance, dental insurance, general liability, a company that's going to recruit and place employees for jobs potentially all over the world, it's Glow Resources. GLO. Visit glowresources.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. It's going on 2 months since an East Baton Rouge parish teacher was terminated over allegations he had an inappropriate relationship with a student. Justin Broussard has not faced any charges, even though he lost his job. The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office says it has a number of search warrants that they're waiting to come back. In this case, they say digital evidence is crucial. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Running Bart's marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Board's marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Didn't take long for Kim Mulkey to do something that's never been done in Baton Rouge. Year 2, she wins a national title, the first in program history. And now the defending national champions for the first time ever are the preseason #1 team in the country. Kim Mulkey and the LSU women's basketball team received all but 35 of the 36 first-place votes from the Associated Press panel, 77. And they were third, preseason number 3 in 2004 and 2005. Of course, we all know you return Angel Reese, you bring in Haley Van Lith, Anissa Morrow from DePaul, you got the #1 transfer class in the country. You got a talented group of incoming freshmen as well. And this is the team that is the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. So congrats to Kim Mulkey. I don't think she's going to try to I don't think she's going to collect any bouquets for being a preseason #1. She wants to be cutting down nets at the end of the season. But I think this team, if you're just looking at this team, they really have one question, and that's who's going to be the point guard. They've got tons of scorers, but who's going to bring up the ball? Who's going to facilitate the offense? You figure that out, then you've got a ton of talent and a ton of scorers. Of course, LSU's going to open up the season November the 6th in Las Vegas against Colorado. And Kim Mulkey met with reporters a couple of weeks ago, kind of as the team was beginning practice, and she talked about what she's learned in the past from defending a national championship.
Well, if you're referring to winning it back-to-back, I don't know that many do that in any sport. It's hard. It's hard to win it, period. As a player, I won it back-to-back. But as a coach, it's hard. I don't think I ever have, even when we were favored to do so. Why is it harder? I think that if you're the underdog and you win a national championship, you didn't probably get everybody's best shot. And I think if you're the favorite, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And when you get beat, and we will get beat, you know that you're going to get beat by a team that was dang good that night. But it's not going to devastate us or destroy us if we don't win another national championship. It's not going to devastate us or destroy us if we lose games. You just want to get better and be playing your best basketball like we did last year at the right time.
Kim Mulkey, she's been down this road before, but this is going to be easily her most talented team in her 3 years in Baton Rouge. Of course, led by Angel Reese, who had some gigantic news today, which we'll get to in a second. Hey, let me quickly remind you about Traction, TractionSports.com. You'll think about it. Halloween's coming up, and then we're about a month away from the Thanksgiving holiday. So if parents, if you're thinking, man, what am I to do with my kiddo during the Thanksgiving holiday? Easy. Traction holiday camps. Go to TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Select the Louisiana location, and when you scroll down, you'll see all of the holiday camps. They've got the holiday speed camps, the holiday baseball camps, the catchers and infielders advanced programs. So if you're thinking of something to do with your kiddos during the holidays, traction baseball camps, the catchers, pitchers camps, and then the speed camps. Full and half-day options are available all throughout break. So get there to learn more. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, y'all. Real quick. You probably saw that Shaq was named Reebok's director of basketball operations. The first athlete he signed was Angel Reese. There was a big billboard in Times Square in New York City. It's pretty cool to see. We'll touch more on it later, but congrats to Angel Reese. Still doing big things. All right, Scott Shanley next.
AFR.
Hey, as we wrap up hour number one, let me remind you about Pure Restoration. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. Go to pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. I love telling you stories because sometimes that illustrates better than just talking about the services. There was this is an honest-to-goodness true story when I tell you that Pure Restoration is more cost-effective and it's more efficient. There was a widow who had mold in her home. And I've seen these pictures from Jim Woodworth at Pure Restoration. There was a widow who had mold in her home. A traditional remediation company came out and gave her a quote of $28,000 to kill the mold, remove it, do the remediation, everything. Pure Restoration was able to go in there and get it done for under $5,000. What might take traditional remediation companies 1 to 3 weeks, they can typically do in 24 hours. Pure-restoration.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 7-time Pro Bowl receiver Julio Jones signing a 1-year deal with the Eagles. He joins A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in Philly's receiver room. A potential return from a torn Achilles this season by Aaron Rodgers, not being ruled out by the Jets or coach Robert Saleh. Saleh, appearing on NFL Network's Good Morning Football, said Rodgers is on a mission, already doing some very advanced things for this stage of his recovery. Added the Jets are leaving the door open for the 39-year-old to possibly return this season. Pat McAfee's show host, Pat McAfee.
In the NFL that we're seeing right now, I mean, you can sit in shotgun. If he does get to a point where he can move a little bit, get down, sit in shotgun, not have to move much, dissect the defense, and let that Jets defense and Jets special teams do their thing, why not the Jets this year, huh?
Rodgers on McAfee said he is obviously ahead of schedule, but did caution there are still many hurdles to clear. NLCS Game 2 tonight, Phillies home to the Diamondbacks, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. NHL Lightning captain Steven Stamkos, lower body injury, out a second straight game tonight against Buffalo, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Wednesday, as Week 7 approaches, I'll tell you which matchup I'm most excited about this weekend. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt. Paul
O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. Saints on a short week. It's a quick turnaround. Of course, losing in Houston on Sunday, home Thursday with Jacksonville coming in. Big question with Trevor Lawrence. Will he play? Won't he with that knee injury? Our buddy, former Saints linebacker Scott Shanley, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Scott, we always appreciate it, man. How are you?
Hey, yeah, absolutely. I'm good.
Hey, man, let me ask from a defensive perspective first. When your offense is struggling as much as the Saints is, how much does that weigh on you to feel like you got to be perfect every time you go out?
I think it eventually starts to take a toll. I mean, when you're a defense and you're holding people under 20 points week after week after week, and you feel like that's still not good enough, you start to get a little frustrated. You start to think, man, what else do we have to do? And then guys start to take subtle jabs at each other in the locker room, all in jest, and make a joke of it. But things like that can start to divide a team if you don't pull your weight on both sides of the ball.
So I'm glad you went there. We talked about it a bit yesterday, but you've been in these locker rooms, so I'd love your perspective to hear DeMario Davis, to hear Alvin Kamara allude to the fact that guys maybe aren't doing everything they're supposed to be doing, to hear the frustration from Cam Jordan. What do you hear? What do you see when you hear those things?
I see a group of guys that feel like they should have a Super Bowl trophy to their name. A little bit of it, especially with Cam, is that window is closing. And guys like this, like the 17 draft class, probably look back and they think about the egregious call in the NFC Championship game, where they think about those couple of years where they were probably the best team in the NFL or one of, and they start to think, are we ever going to win one? And I kind of hear that in their voice. And to me, this team has almost had too many player meetings. At some point, it's not about getting together, holding each other accountable. That's day one stuff. If you can't do that by week 5, week 6, I think that says there's a bigger issue on your team, because it's a known. For me, every time we stepped in the locker room, especially before a game, it was about doing your job. And if today was your day to get 4 tackles and you were containing the ball every play, then that was your job. Maybe today was your day to get 20 tackles because they check the ball down every play and we're playing cover 2 every play. So I think guys just need to kind of accept their role and know that every week is not going to be your week where you catch 20 balls or get 20 targets. You have to have a selflessness about you if your number one goal is to win a championship.
That's good perspective. Did you won one, but you were also part of teams that were trying to get there, right? Then you get there in 2009, but you didn't get back. 11 was the one that's glaring, right? I mean, it was the best team the Saints ever had by most people's standards, and fell short. Did you ever feel that, Scott, or did climbing that mountain sort of satiate that hunger?
No, I think once we all did it once, we just assumed that because we were able to accomplish it, that we were going to have this mini dynasty. We looked around. Drew was in his prime. We looked at the veteran guys, myself, in the prime of their career, and contracts said, hey, we got a couple more years to do this. We can win 2 or 3 in a row. And then in 2010, we had a bunch of injuries, which you can never account for. We go to Seattle and lose a playoff game we had no business losing. But the next year we came back. You're right. 2011, as much as I think about winning it in 2009, I think about not winning it in 2011. We were the best team in the NFL that year. Nobody cares outside of us, but history shows we weren't the best team in the NFL that year. And I talk about it all the time. When you play teams that you're supposed to beat and you don't, those things always come back to bite you. That year in 2011, heck, we're hosting playoff games if we beat the Rams on the road, a horrible Rams team that we dropped a game to. And so those games you're supposed to win, you have to win. The toss-up games, like the Jags, to me, is a toss-up game when the schedule comes out. Those things come back to bite you when you don't take care of business when you're supposed to.
Scott Shanley is with us. He's on Twitter at Scott Shanley. Man, I'm glad we went there. As painful as it is, right, to talk about, it's great perspective. So fast forward to the now. So that's the reality of what all these guys are living with right now, the veteran guys who have yet to get to that point. I think maybe there's some realization setting in about this window closing. Scott, how do you get this thing on track to prevent what happened a year ago, which is the win 1, lose 2? You know, just the 1 step forward, 2 step back. What do you do?
To me, it's about the reason we had consistency, I think, from 2009 to 11, and I believe we won more games than anybody in the NFL.
Yes.
There was a demeanor about the way we approached every day of the week. You know, I think as fans, you don't realize just how much time is going in between games, watching film, lifting weights, practicing. And the frustrating thing for me is, like, this team looks the same every week. What are we doing in between the Sundays? Because I know when we were on that run in 2009 to 11, our practices were fast, physical, violent, and practices were harder than the games. And I know people say that, but it was the truth. You were exhausted at the end of our practices. And I don't know if that's what's going on. I haven't been to any practices, but you can only prepare for Sundays by the way you approach your work Monday through Saturday.
So who is that a reflection on? Is it Dennis Allen? Is it the lack of player leadership? Is it the fact that Sean and Drew aren't there? Who do you think that's a reflection on?
I think some of it, yeah, you always have to go. Coaches have to take responsibility for it, the way you conduct practice. But also, I understand it's a new NFL. I understand guys are more pampered now. I understand guys take veteran days off when you only have 2.5 practice days a week. Friday's not really a practice day. To me, like, unless you're hurt, why are you not practicing? That's just the way I look at it. I don't believe in veteran days because everybody can perfect their craft, no matter where they are in their career. So I just think it's a new NFL. When you look at the offseason, the limited amount of time they practice in the offseason, the training camps are a joke. So the offensive lines around the league look like crap for the first month of the season. Heck, you know, it's hard to find a 300-yard passer anymore. It's just the offensive lines can't protect the passer. The receivers and the quarterbacks don't have timing like they used to because of all the reps in the offseason. I really think the changes we've made to the offseason and giving back practice time has affected the game, the product on Sundays.
Can this Saints team fix it this year?
Absolutely. I think they can, and I think sometimes people maybe think I'm too optimistic about this team, but I just look at it on paper, and if I were a general manager or a coach in the NFC South, what roster would I take? I'm taking the Saints because at many positions, they're better than the other teams in their division. So the reason I'm optimistic is because they're playing a horrible division, and that's probably not going to excite Saints fans. That's my optimism, but it's the truth. You win a bad division, and you start clicking at the right time, and you host a playoff game, anything can happen if you get in the playoffs. It's all about playing your best football when it matters most. We've seen plenty of teams peak in September and October. It's pointless. So because of the roster this team has, Pete Carmichael's been there since 2006. I know he's under the lightning bolt right now by a lot of people. Pete's also, he ran the offense in 2012 when Sean wasn't there. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been in all those meeting rooms. If there's anybody I trust to fix it, it's the coaches who have been there, who have won a Super Bowl and saw how it was done before. And I think we have talented players enough to turn it around.
By the way, Scott, for whatever it's worth, I mean, you're not alone. The Saints are still the odds-on favorite to win the NFC South. I mean, the people who build the shiny buildings in the desert are siding with you. I mean, you're right in that it's a bad division, and the Saints are probably the most talented team in this bad division. I think the big picture question, and the last thing for you is it enough to be the best team in a bad division, or is this just a house of cards that's doomed to fall?
Well, I think if you don't win a bad division, there's going to be major changes. There's going to be different people coaching different positions. There's going to be different players playing those positions because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. If this continues to play out this entire season, you can't continue to do the same thing with the same people. So that's just the reality of the NFL. And you have to sell hope to your fans, whether it's you draft the quarterback high, whether it's you change coaches, whether you change different players on offense or defense. You can't have a hopeless fan base. It's not a fun season to go through. It's like when I've never been on a really bad team, but I assume when you're 4-8 and you can't make the playoffs, that's a hopeless season. That's not fun to be a fan or a player in. So you have to sell hope to your fans and to your team.
Scott Shanley on Twitter at Scott Shanley, of course, Super Bowl champion, and always great perspective, man. We appreciate a couple of minutes as always. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, man, be well. I love talking to Scott because he's such an interesting guy because of when he played and how he played. I got a break, but I want to circle back to that, man. Because Scott was that guy that was, I remember always, like every week Mike Detillier was here for 10 years. And we talked about Scott Shanley so many times because every year, like literally, the Saints in 2006, when Sean Payton showed up here, traded for Scott Shanley during training camp. And every single year, for 7 years, every year, they brought in linebackers to take his job. And every year, he kept throwing them out the boat. So that's a guy that was given nothing. Everything was earned, and he's a Super Bowl champion and a starter and a great player and all that stuff. So he's got that perspective of a guy that had to go earn it and did. And so he looks at all these guys who are not doing the things he did in camp and practice. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in veteran days off. Ryan Ramczyk, every Wednesday, veteran day off. Bro, you stink right now. They gave you $100 million and you stink. Why do you have a veteran day off? Go get better. I understand he's got a concussion right now, so that notwithstanding, I mean, up until this point. So I get it, man. I understand where Scott's coming from when you listen to him talk. It's so clear. It's just this cut to the bone truth. He's right. And he's right also about win a bad division, get in the playoffs, and anything can happen. Look at the Giants in 2007. They were a 9-7 football team. We've seen wildcard teams win the Super Bowl. I just don't believe this team can do it. That's where he and I differ. But as far as selling hope to your fan base and thinking, can you win a bad division and get in the playoffs? Yes. But even if you do and get there, they're going to lose in the first round. I just don't think they're good. But boy, that cuts to the root, the core of what the issues are with this team. All right, I got a break. We're glad you're with us here. Feinswog. We'll talk some beer and other stuff next. AFR.
AFR.
Hey, y'all, this Saturday out at Clegg's on Seagan, it's the Baton Rouge Green Tree Spree. One day only. They do it every year. and it's this coming up Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Clegg's on Segan. Again, Clegg's on Segan. Baton Rouge Green is an awesome organization, of course, committed to beautifying our beautiful city and adding more greenery and trees to our fair city. So the Baton Rouge Green Tree Spree is this Saturday, Clegg's on Segan. So if you go and buy a Baton Rouge Green approved tree, Clegg's will donate. For every tree that you buy, they'll donate to BRG. Their tree experts will be there on hand to answer your questions. You can stock up for tree planting season with native and rare species. It's the Baton Rouge Green Tree Spree this Saturday, one day only, Clegg's on Segan from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Go see our friends this weekend at Clegg's Nursery.
Here at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get 1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Hey, Lee.
Luckily, most of the people who I think listen to you don't watch you, because I feel bad for forgetting that we were supposed to be Zooming.
Ah, well, just another day in paradise, Lee. No worries at all. We'll Zoom another day. How do you feel about how do you feel about Kim Mulkey? Another hurdle crossed. First ever preseason #1 for that program.
She'll have to say the same thing that Scott Shanley was saying. That was such a great line. You have to sell hope to your fans. So Isn't that a great line by Scott Shanley, though?
I mean, yes. But would you agree that there are different ways to do that? Because I don't know that here's my point with the Saints. And I know you and I don't ever talk about the Saints. I don't know that you give a flip about the Saints. I do. It's my favorite team. I've loved them since for literally as long as I've been alive. But the problem is I don't believe that you're selling hope to this franchise with a bad coach and a middle of the road quarterback and you might win a bad division. That's not hope. That's I keep describing it as perpetual mediocrity. You're not going to be the worst team in the league, but you're not even sniffing a championship. And that sucks. I don't want to be there.
No, it's a playoff team, but that's it. And, how far, you got to get a break or two and maybe they win a game or two. But, no, I wasn't equating it with the Saints. I was just equating it with what a great line.
Yeah.
And what a great perspective. What's Dabo Sweeney doing? I know you were saying we might talk about him. Is he selling hope to his fans?
Did you play that?
Just the opposite.
Play that.
Just the opposite.
Hang on, Lee. Play that cut. For those that missed it earlier, we played this last hour. This is what Lee was referencing about Dabo. Play this. This was on his radio show.
We're at a point in our time, and I hate that, where, people, if you don't go undefeated, you're losers. You're terrible. And it's just such a terrible mindset, And honestly, maybe we need to lose a few games and lighten up the bandwagon. Sometimes the bandwagon can get a little too full. And, that's the one good thing about going through a little bit of so-called.
Well, you've covered a lot of sports for a lot of years. Can you remember a coach saying maybe we should lose and get less fans?
It sounded like he's been doing what I was doing a lot the last few months, which was binge watching Ted Lasso. That sounded like. Did you watch Ted Lasso?
No, I've never seen that. I mean, I was familiar with the commercial, which they turned into the series, but I've never watched the series. No.
Matt, I got to tell you, number one, and the people who are listening to me who also watch it, one of the most well-written, funny television series ever, number one. But the fact that it was about sports, and it was all about, a lot of it was have fun, guys. Got to have fun. And Dabo's lost it. He'll be retiring next year.
You think so?
Makes it through this year. Oh, that's the. I mean, how old is Dabo? My guess is mid-50s.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He's not 60 yet. He's. I'll look it up. Dabo is 53 years old.
Okay. How much money you think Dabo's probably made over the last 10 years when you can live pretty damn comfortably in Clemson, South Carolina for probably on $40K?
Do you so his
No, I'm serious. That's
so real quick.
Okay.
So right now this is his estimated net worth is around $30 million. That's a quick Google search, but he's got a contract that throughout the life of it would pay him about $115 million. So Dabo's got plenty of money. But Lee, I don't know many coaches that coach for the money. And I know normal humans like you and me would roll our eyes at that. But the reality is, and a lot of coaches in a lot of different sports, there's just a thing in them that's wired differently that makes them maniacal to do that thing and to win, that when you take that away from them, they don't know what else to do. Does that make sense?
Well, yes. But in his case, what he's saying is that it's over for me. I don't care. I mean, I'm going to be shocked if he's coaching there after next year. He might have one more year left in him. But that's the words of a guy who's like, all right, I've had enough. It's just wearing me out. We did a lot of winning. I've made a ton of money. We're at a point. Do I have it in me to get this going again and make us a top 5 program again? And, it was John Brady, the former LSU coach. He goes, if you stay 12 years, you're there too long. And for most people, that's probably true, But, I mean, could you imagine living in Clemson, South Carolina, being worth $30 million? I don't know. I'd think of something to do if I had hit my coaching wall. And I tell you what, in a lot of sports, in a lot of areas geographically and levels, that a lot of coaches and people in sports tell me that everything has changed so much for them that a lot of the older guard is just, when the time is convenient, they're getting out or they're thinking about it. And I think that, number one, it's always a young person's game. And that's not to say that old people can't succeed. Certainly look at Saban into his 70s doing, even people say, they might be not good this year. They might lose a bunch of games. Pretty good last decade. Pretty good, time after 65 for Nick Saban, but it takes a certain energy to build it or to rebuild it. If you and it sounds like Dabo maybe has hit a coaching wall.
So real quick, Lee Feinswog is our guest, and I understand there's a lot of people in our markets, our affiliates outside of here that may not be familiar. Just so you know, like Lee comes on with us every week. We have fun. We talk beer and stuff. But Lee was a sports writer for how many years were you a sports writer?
Well, I think I've never stopped being a sports writer.
Were you a traditional newspaper writer?
For sure, and I did 13 years at the Advocate, the last 7 or 8 or 9 as the LSU basketball beat writer. So and of course, during that time, covered lots of football, including not only LSU but all the schools in Louisiana.
But the only reason I lay that out there is for context to ask you this question.
Okay.
And I did not think we were going to go here, but it's very interesting that you said that, and you referenced the coaching wall. Like I look at Kim Mulkey, who is 61 and is nowhere near that coaching wall. Dabo's 53, and you're saying you don't think he's going to coach beyond next season, and I hadn't even considered it until I listened to his comments again where he's saying maybe we should lose some games, and he does sound pissed and annoyed, and he doesn't like NIL and portal and all that stuff, so maybe he will walk. But what have you ever noticed any trends or indicators of coaches when they reach that point? Because to me, Lee, it feels as though coaches coach until they can't anymore, until they're told you're done.
Wow, like thinking of older coaches over the course of the time that I've been in Baton Rouge, I mean, certainly I think I might have seen it coming with Bill Arnsparger when he was coaching LSU football. I saw it with Dale Brown. Dale finished with 5 losing seasons. If Kim Mulkey doesn't hit the lottery last year and strike it rich with 2 transfer portal people who turned out to be way, way better. Like you take a player like Angel Reese, who was just a good player at Maryland. Nobody could have ever projected she'd be spectacular. Let's just say arbitrarily that LSU women's basketball last year wasn't even a round of 16 team. Would Kim Mulkey have had that same energy going into this year, or would she be thinking to herself, "Hey, it's a nice move," and maybe, I'm not trying to speak for her. I'm just saying that in her case, why wouldn't you be energized? And so everybody's situation's different. But I've seen. Like with John Brady, he got worn out. He went to a Final Four in 2006, and how many more years was he there? Just a few more. And granted, he coached again one more time, but just Matt, you must have had coaching friends tell you how much it's changed for them.
Oh, of course, but and of course it's changed. But here's the difference, and why I think the conversation is interesting, and maybe we're just like going way into the weeds. And I don't know if people are interested in this as much as I am, but for years, Lee, literally, so I mean, probably for the last 10 years, in varying times, I've mentioned this on this show, where there have been coaches who are, air quotes, young by coaching standards that walk away.
Sean Payton.
Hang on. So I'm sorry, but just Turner Gill, Gene Chizik, Urban Meyer. We have seen coaches, Bob Stoops, that abruptly leave coaching. And my theory has been, look, these guys start young, they sprint for 20, 30 years, they make so much money, they wake up and they're 50 or 55 years old, they've never taken a day off, their kids have graduated high school, they're a grandparent now, and they say, you know what? I'm going to go enjoy, now I've made all this money, I'm just done. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my life. And time and again that happens, Lee, and they step away, but they all come back. They all come back because they got to scratch that itch. Whatever that thing is that drove them, you can't turn it off. So that's what's interesting to me. Like,
how about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
This past week, you saw Urban Meyer's name floated around for Michigan State. Again, and every time that he's gotten out of a coaching job, he makes the same thing with athletes who retire young and then want to come back, or the ones who retire young and are content who just walk away at the peak of their game. That doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it makes you go, I'm thinking of the running back for the Buffalo Bills. The guy who went to Oklahoma State. Help me out here.
You're probably thinking of Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders played for the Lions. But I know what you mean. But the difference is, by and large, athletes are like physically can't do it anymore. It's super rare that an athlete steps away in their physical prime like Barry Sanders did. Or Calvin
Luck,
Johnson.
He was beat up, right?
Andrew
not
Luck.
Oliver Luck.
Andrew
Luck. Thank you. I'm in the ballpark. Buffalo Bills,
Yeah.
Detroit Lions. Oliver Luck is dad. Andrew Luck. But
yeah, you're a volleyball guy, not a football guy.
Thank you very much. Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss from LSU, and here in Louisiana, bronze medal at the World Championships this past weekend.
Give me the ding. There it is. Volleyball reference.
Yeah.
How to get it.
There you go. Yeah.
So a final thought though before we talk about beer. Do you have a thought, like you use the phrase people hitting their coaching wall?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what brings a coach to their wall where they decide they're walking away, as opposed to coaching until you just, the game has passed you by and you're told to leave?
Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of it as far as like realizing that, working 20 hours a day and sleeping on your couch for nights on end in the office is not a way to go through life. And again, you can go back to the Ted Lasso thing, and really you do have to watch it, Matt. But, not everybody's going to have that kind of perspective. Matt, the pace that you've personally put up, now you haven't sacrificed anything on your personal end because you're not a coach and you can shut it down. But think of the pace that you personally put up watching sports and talking about it every day, not just on the show. A lot of people may not realize that you do podcasts and you do the morning scone, which is how many days in a row now?
It's like 2082.
And you're able to still maintain that enthusiasm. And I may not be speaking for everybody, but as there was a time when I was in sports media on a daily basis and doing that kind of thing, where I ate, breathed, and slept it just like you. And, but I gradually drifted away from it. That's not to say that you will, and you might even get more energetic about it. But, being a sports media person who's as immersed in it and what it demands now isn't all that different from being a coach.
There's some validity to that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know people will roll their eyes. I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm grinding and under the type of pressure that $1 million coaches are. I'm not saying that, but there is some validity to what you're saying.
No, but you couldn't do what you do every day if you were like me and mistaking the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions or the Luck dad to the Luck son. You don't do that because you're so prepared and you work so hard and you're so immersed into it.
Well, your job.
And for all you people listening and watching, this guy is a working machine who is the best at what he does. You have the best sports talk show in America, in my opinion.
This is why I have you on the show, Lee, just to build me up. That's why.
That's only just one of two reasons. And how's that for a segue?
Well, that wasn't how I was going to segue. I was going to segue by saying this: it's not your job, Lee, to know who the running back was for the Buffalo Bills or the Detroit Lions. It is your job to know about beer. Hashtag segue.
What is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. Beer. I could really use a beer. Beer. Beer.
All right. Take it away.
Oh, the best part about doing this again by headphones over the phone instead of the Zoom is that I can hear the music because I love that music.
I don't know why you can't hear. Why can't he hear the music on Zoom? That doesn't make sense that he can't hear the music on Zoom. We got to fix that.
I don't know, but look, my beer is not this beer, but my beer that I have to tell you about is Abita's The Boot. Brewed in the boot for the boot. 4.8%. It's not a Canadian saying about a boot. They call it crispy beer.
I'll give you something to cry, boot.
This is really nice, The Boot. I recommend that. But my beer du jour of the week is also by Abita. Ride Share Triple IPA. Not single IPA, Matt. Not double IPA, triple IPA. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I do love an
alcohol.
a hoppy. You give me a triple IPA, the hoppier the better. Ooh, I think I'm going to like that.
Matt, 10%. And you might want to, this is from the game notes, you might want to plan ahead with this bright, hazy brew. Ride Share is a smooth AAA loaded with luxurious hops. Its cloudy appearance steers you towards big hop flavors of tropical and citrus fruits. Don't let the high ABV fool you. This drinkable brew is pleasantly balanced with a touch of malt sweetness and a slightly dry finish. This stuff's really good. Really, really good. Ride Share Triple IPA by Abita. I recommend it strongly. On a cool night like tonight, There you go. Hey, Tim Brando's my guest this week on Sports 225. 6:30 on Cox 4 U Review first airing. Go to my Facebook or Twitter page to Keep up, because sports225.com, may it rest in peace. This wasn't worth updating it anymore.
All right. Thank you, Lee.
Bye, Matt.
All right. We'll see you. It's after further review. Stick around.
AFR.
And, of course, you can get that delicious beer that Lee just talked about at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's screams, oozes local. You go get those Rouse's branded products. One thing that is, I know for an absolute gospel truth fact, they will go to the ends of the earth or the ends of the state to source things locally. When you see the Rouse's branded products, from potato chips to anything it may be, every single ingredient they can get in this state, they do. Every single thing they can source locally, they do at Rouse's. That's the importance of being local. Rouse's has been around as a company for 100 years. They've been helping you make groceries for the last 60. They got 60 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, points in between, and, of course, the Rouse's mobile app. So download that Rouse's mobile app and shop local with Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I think it boils down to our ability to be able to execute. And by execution, I mean, if we're getting to a certain check or getting to a certain play, making sure everybody understands exactly what they're all supposed to be doing so that we can go out and actually perform that job the proper way on the field. And that's a combination, of we've got to do a better job of coaching it, and we've got to do a better job of playing it.
And the more I listen to Dennis Allen talk, the more I want to punch a wall. Not in a good way. Not like run through a wall. I mean, punch a wall out of frustration. There's just nothing there. It's just like a useless sound montage of nothingness. Who was the coach we used to do that for? Was it Dennis Allen?
No, that was Alvin Gentry.
Oh.
That was Alvin Gentry. You literally put a moratorium on Gentry audio. We couldn't play any after a while.
God. I bet you loved that, too. You didn't have to cut anymore.
That's kind of true, but, I mean, I don't know if we could do that at the head coach of the Saints.
We literally stopped playing Alvin Gentry audio on this show. I just refused to play anything. I didn't want to hear his voice. He said nothing of value, ever. We're kind of getting there with Dennis Allen.
Can we do that, though? I mean, the Saints are such a large part of the show.
The Saints are. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking about the Saints. It's just I don't want to hear from Dennis Allen anymore.
Okay.
Unless if he says something. We probably lifted that moratorium once or twice. If there was something that just happened to maybe, penetrate that wall and say, look, this is worth playing, maybe we did it. I remember that now. It was Alvin Gentry.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to forget everything about Alvin Gentry being the coach of the Pelicans. But Dennis Allen was talking there about how you get better in the red zone. You wouldn't have known that if I didn't tell you, because he really said a whole lot of nothing. But here's what you need to know about the Saints in the red zone. Muse, have you looked? Do you know the statistics? The Saints touchdown conversion in the red zone?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay, so what do you think is the Saints' red zone touchdown percentage? So, by the way, number one in the NFL is the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins score touchdowns on 80% of their red zone trips. 8 out of 10. 4 out of 5 trips to the red zone, the Miami Dolphins are scoring a touchdown. Buffalo Bills are second at 75%. So that goes to show you how elite Miami is. They're 5 percentage points higher than the number 2 team, which is crazy. What do you think is the New Orleans Saints touchdown conversion red zone percentage?
All right, so I think conventional wisdom would tell me that it's higher than like the lowest number that I'm thinking. I'll go with 15%.
Okay, that's super low. That's too low. They're at 36%. A dead last in the NFL is Pittsburgh at 28%. So the Saints are 28th out of 32 teams at 36% red zone touchdown conversion, which typically what you want to be is you want to get touchdowns on 50% and you want to convert points 75%. You'd love to do 100%, right? I mean, in a perfect world, it's 75% touchdowns, 25% field goals. You're converting 100% of the time. But in a realistic scenario, you're probably going to live like just so as for instance, as we reference these numbers, Miami's at 80%, Buffalo 75%, New England 70%, San Francisco 69%, the Chargers 65%, Green Bay 62%, Washington 61%. You have this big clump of like teams less than 60% in the 50s. Baltimore, Cleveland, Rams, Denver, Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, Indy, KC. Kansas City's 54%. The Chiefs are 54% for context. The Bengals, Vikings, Seattle, Jacksonville, Arizona. That's 19 teams that are, or excuse me, 14 teams that are in the 50s. Half the league is in the 50% range, which is usually where you are, right? There's outliers. You're at 36%. You're terrible in the red zone. You were 0 for 3 in the red zone this past weekend. I mean, you can't, and it's stunning that you have Michael Thomas, who is as big and physical and strong-handed of a receiver as we've seen in the NFL in the last decade. Like, he used to be automatic in these situations. You went and got Jimmy Graham, who's a big freak show. Just throw him a jump ball and see if he can come down with it. You done it one time, and he caught a touchdown against Green Bay. Like, it's stunning that you're not better. And yes, it's execution, it's play call, it's all of these things that are sort of wrapped into one. But it's what's led to this, which is the Saints are a team that can't score points, which is why you're at the bottom of the NFL in points, because you can move the ball between the 20s, but when you get into the 20s, you can't score. And that's been an illustration and been a problem. For what it's worth, last year when Carr was with Las Vegas red zone touchdown conversion was 48%. They were in the bottom 10 of the NFL a year ago. Like, this isn't a new thing. It's a Derek Carr thing. Derek Carr is a guy that's chewed up useless yardage throughout his career. He'll throw for a lot of yards. They don't convert to a lot of points. Like, that's been Derek Carr throughout his career. I mean, you have a large enough sample size for a guy that's in his 10th NFL season to know that, and it's happening now again in New Orleans. This is obviously relevant here because we keep talking about the Ocho Cinco wager. Our very good friend, our dear friend, Chad Johnson, a.k.a. Ocho Cinco, a guy who he and I, lifelong friends, super tight, been great friends forever.
Never met him.
Did he not tweet me back, Muse?
That doesn't mean
Did he not agree to the bet?
Never met him.
You know what he even tweeted at me? Effing love you, man. He
did.
did.
He did. I can't even dispute that. That did happen.
You can't dispute it. It's in black and white. It's on the Twitter machine.
That did happen.
Mm-hmm. Coop would do it too if he tweeted.
No, he wouldn't.
My guy Cooper Rush. All right, so here's the update on the Ocho Cinco bet. Ocho's predictions for Derek Carr: 38 touchdowns. He's at 5. Saints are pacing for 14 passing touchdowns this year. He's going to fall a little short of 38.
Sounds fake. Like that's stats. That's one of those stats that are real that sound fake.
I know. Ocho predicted 6 picks. Carr's at 3. So 3 through 6 games. So he's pacing for 9, thereabouts, 8.5, 9 picks. And Ocho predicted 4,700 yards. Carr's at 1,299. So he did actually boost his per game average this past week, throwing for about 350. But still at 1,299, he's off the pace that he would need to hit 4,700. So remember the bet. If Carr doesn't hit these stats, Ocho's got to fly himself to Baton Rouge and do this show with me one day. So the only real question at this point is if Ocho Cinco is actually going to hold up his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to lose.
Yeah, for sure.
Is he actually going to do it? Is he going to fly? Because I don't think he's hitting any of those. He's not hitting the yards, touchdowns, and Carr's going to throw more than 6 picks.
Yeah.
So Ocho's going to lose on all accounts. Will he actually come down? That's probably the question. Maybe that's the poll question. Do you think Ocho will actually make good on the bet?
Yeah, I mean, once we figure that out, we can just start picking the date. Because, I mean,
it's time.
Yeah.
We're ready. All right, we're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows, and they do it better than anyone else. I love telling you about Relief Windows every single day because at Relief Windows, yes, it's windows, doors, siding, it's all of those things. But at Relief Windows, it's more about experience, quality, and service. There's a 5-star Google review from Roy C. that they published. Relief Windows replaced 18 windows at our home, and we are very satisfied. We received bids from 2 other companies, but the difference maker for us was that Relief excelled in sales knowledge, customer service, and installation experience. They delivered in every aspect that they promised. Another 5-star Google review for Relief Windows. They're the best. Their windows, doors, siding, but their experience, quality, and service. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, y'all. Muse will have Tigers in the Pros to wrap up hour number 2. Sean Salisbury is on a flight. He just texted me from the air. Said plane hasn't landed yet. So Sean's supposed to be with us in 13 minutes, but the plane hasn't landed, so I'm guessing he's not going to be here straight up hour 3. But we'll see if we can get Sean in whenever his plane lands and he's able to come on air, so we'll get to him. We're glad you're aboard with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR powered by Sunshine. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Woke up this morning, temp in the 40s. A lot of us are doing it now. You're reaching for that heater. You're turning on that furnace at the home. I'm telling you, before you do, before the cold weather gets here, before you're cranking up that heater every single day, call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. They service the entire greater Baton Rouge area. I cannot recommend it highly enough. your heater is dormant for months. It can be hazardous. Before you crank it up, get that preseason heater safety check. Mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $30 off the price. Ramona Boudreau sent a 5-star Google review. Love River City's 1-hour air. Absolutely there within an hour, and the maintenance contract is well worth the money. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10. It's River City's 1-hour air, 752-0001.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. It's going on 2 months since an East Baton Rouge parish teacher was terminated over allegations he had an inappropriate relationship with a student. Justin Broussard has not faced any charges, even though he lost his job. The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office says it has a number of search warrants that they're waiting to come back. In this case, they say digital evidence is crucial. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach.
Here's to the farmer that plants the fields in the spring, that turn from green to that harvest honey. Hold one up for the banker downtown.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
There's a video on Sunshine's Instagram of Condon in a tractor. It's so good, too. Oh, man. Sunny Quip JD on Instagram. Sunny Quip JD on Instagram. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Real quickly here, Damone Clark, big night for him as the Cowboys got a victory. Led the team in tackles with 8, including a hit on the quarterback. Major League Baseball playoffs. Of course, during the show yesterday, we brought you an Alex Bregman home run live on the air. That was Bregman's only hit of the day, so 1 for 4 with the homer. The Astros took another L. They're down 2-0. Tonight in Major League Baseball playoffs, Aaron Nola on the bump for the Phillies, going for win number 3 this postseason. The Phillies look to take a 2-0 lead there. Quick Quick NBA here. Ben Simmons, 8 points. 8 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. Did have 8 turnovers in the game.
How many points?
8.
Oh.
Yeah. No, he didn't even attempt one. The guy, Cam Thomas did, though. Attempted 5, made 3 of them. 18 points, led the Nets in scoring. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Boy, Cameron. We're presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Tigers in the Pros. Gentlemen, thinking of popping the question. Get a beautiful diamond. Sure to thrill her. Give her a gift in the little red box from Lee Michaels. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Shreveport, Lafayette, and online at lmfj.com. Okay. Sean Salisbury's supposed to be with us. His plane hasn't landed yet. Some point next hour, I assume Sean will be here. Well, now I got a quick break. Sports Center is coming up. Army head coach Jeff Monken previewing LSU next.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 2, let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. You know, no matter your age or your refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center can help. If you're like I was a few years ago, nearsighted, could barely see your hand in front of your face, LASIK could be the solution. They also have Evo ICL, which is an implantable contact lens. It's another option for people that are nearsighted. Maybe you had LASIK years ago, your eyes continuing to age, you have some other issues now. PRK could be an option. That's what Hester had. He had LASIK done when he was playing in the NFL, and now years later had PRK done. My cousin Steven had PRK, had LASIK in his 20s, now had PRK done. My dad recently, who's pushing 70, had RK back in the early 90s, was using glasses again now here in his 60s, and just went to the Williamson Eye Center and had the lens replacement. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
We have truckloads of inventory rolling in at Corbell Toyota in Opelousas. And you can take advantage of 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corbell Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Eagles adding 7-time Pro Bowler Julio Jones to their receiver room, which includes A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Philadelphia signing Jones to a 1-year contract. Can Aaron Rodgers return this season from a torn Achilles tendon? Don't bet against it, according to Jets coach Robert Saleh. On Good Morning Football, Saleh said Rodgers is on a mission, already is doing some very advanced things for this stage of his recovery, adding the Jets are leaving the door open for a potential return this season. That potential return addressed by Rodgers.
That's the goal. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to put a timetable on it specifically. That makes absolutely no sense. Anybody that doesn't realize that there's a lot of things that have to happen to get to that point, but it's going to have to be jogging and then explosive moments and then practicing and then everybody's signing off on it. And, hopefully we get to have those conversations.
Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee Show. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey avoided a long-term injury to his oblique and ribs, does have a chance to play Monday night against Minnesota. Game 2 NLCS tonight, Diamondbacks Phillies, coverage at 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Sean Salisbury usually with us right now. As I mentioned, Sean texted me a few minutes ago. He's traveling today. His plane hasn't landed, so we're waiting on Sean to get where he is going, and then hopefully we'll be able to have Sean before the show is over. LSU welcomes in Army this weekend to Tiger Stadium. Brian Kelly, when he met with reporters on Monday, gave a brief overview of this Army team, which, look, anytime you're going to play against a service academy, there are certain things you know you're going to get. It's why, during bowl season, service academies are like an autoplay for sports bettors, because you always wonder who's going to care. They're going to care. They're always going to care and always going to play hard and always going to give their best. Here was Brian Kelly on this Army team.
They're well coached. Jeff Monken is a heck of a football coach. Comes from a great family of coaches. I know him well. I respect him as a football coach. His team will be well prepared. And much like how they represent the service academy, they represent that as a football team. They keep coming at you. 4 quarters of football. They're going to play physical. Their ruggedness shows out in the way they play.
For what it's worth, Jeff Monken, the Army coach, did meet with reporters to kind of preview this week with Army coming in. And there's a little bit of there's a little bit of the reality that exists there with Jeff Monken. The interesting thing about Army is, for years, Navy dominated that Army-Navy series. Navy had found its stride with Paul Johnson, then Ken Niumatalolo, and Army was just very bad. Jeff Monken got there to Army at West Point and has built that program up. There's actually several local kids, not only from Louisiana, from the Baton Rouge area, who've kind of had a little pipeline there to Army. Connor Finucane's a kid who went to my alma mater, Catholic High, who's a great defensive lineman who's going to play a big role for Army in this game. So it's cool that they're coming, but the realistic component of this is Army is super outmanned, and Jeff Monken knows it, and he essentially told reporters that when he met with them on Tuesday.
I mean, I don't know where you start when you talk about personnel with them. You could go through their starting 22 and every guy that trots off the bench, they're specialists. The guys that play special teams, they are tremendously talented, and it will take a monumental effort for us to challenge these guys and have an opportunity to be in the football game.
It'll take a monumental effort for us to be in the football game. Most of the time when you hear a coach preview a game, they're going to say, we're going to go play our best. I like my guys. We're going to play 4 quarters. We're going to play hard, see how it goes. It's different when you hear a coach say it's going to take a monumental effort for us to stay in the game. But remember, a week ago, Hugh Freeze at Auburn said essentially the same thing about Jaden Daniels. And there were a lot of people who did the eye roll thing when Hugh Freeze said, you can't really stop him. You hope you just hold him to field goals. And you thought, he's not really kidding. Well, Auburn literally did not get a stop in the second half against LSU. They scored touchdowns on all 4 possessions in the second half. Auburn did hold LSU to 2 field goals in the first half. LSU had 2 red zone possessions where penalties backed them up, and they had to settle for field goals, which kind of kept it a game at halftime. So it was mission accomplished for a half, but not so much in the second half. Well, Jeff Monken was asked about Jaden Daniels and the LSU offense, and essentially said the same thing about this LSU offense, which is really they're unstoppable.
I don't know what you do. Do you take away the pass? They run it as good as anybody in the country. You take away the run, they throw as good as anybody in the country. They've got a record-setting quarterback, a record-setting receiver. They're enormous on the offensive line. Talented is an understatement. What we've got to do is play sound defense, try to play very well fundamentally, playing blocks, keeping leverage on the football, running really hard to the ball, getting as many guys around it as possible, and trying to make things happen through our system.
When you hear Jeff Monken talk about the LSU offense, where it's like, what do you do? Do you take away the pass? Well, they run it exceptionally well. They're huge on the offensive line. Then you talk about Jaden Daniels being as good as he is. The thing, actually, can you play the other one about Jeff Monken, about Jaden Daniels? Here was Jeff Monken specifically about Jaden Daniels.
He's got arm talent and the feet to get out of trouble, to get the ball delivered to a guy in a zero blitz. You can rush 3 and drop everybody back there in 8. He'll find a way to put the ball in there. He's just really talented. He's a really good player. It's why they're in the top 10 in the country in rushing and passing. Okay. That almost never happens.
Top 10 in the country in rushing and passing, it almost never happens. What that represents is incredible balance. And the guy that deserves an awful lot of credit is Mike Denbrock. And I know a year ago, when LSU at times struggled to find its footing, there were some people in this fan base that kind of questioned and said, is Denbrock really the guy? And what I kept defaulting to here was, if you go back and look at Mike Denbrock's offenses at Cincinnati. Yes, Cincinnati. For those AFR OGs. At least if you've been here for 4 years, you get the reference. If you go back and look at Denbrock's offenses at Cincinnati, when he showed up, they were like triple digits in everything. By the time he left, when he established himself, they got better every year, and he had Desmond Ridder for multiple years. Desmond Ridder was the 2-time American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year. He was one of the top quarterback in Cincinnati's football history. He accounted for over 12,000 yards and 116 touchdowns, and they finished nationally that year top 10 in every major statistical category. He had a veteran quarterback who knew his offense, and they had built it and grown. It didn't take 4 years for Denbrock to get there at LSU because he inherited Jaden Daniels here, and in 2 years with Daniels, you're seeing what they're seeing. But Mike Denbrock deserves an extraordinary amount of credit because he is a super smart offensive coach that's had this level of success at all of his stops. And he's a guy that the players absolutely love to play for because he is very much a fatherly figure on the field. He's not the guy that's now when Mike talks, he talks very loudly. Like you just can't help but know where he is because he talks very loudly. But he's not the angry, screaming coach. He's the kind of coach that'll put your arm around you and tell you he loves you, and that resonates with a lot of young people. That's the personality part of it. When you blend that with the knowledge of offense and the ability to coach it up, you have what's transpiring. And Brian Kelly kind of talked about all that on Monday with Denbrock.
Well, he's central to it because it's, certainly coordinating it. Look, I'm a big believer that, you don't really get a buy-in unless you get everybody to weigh in. So, he's getting input from the entire offensive staff and then, putting it together. It's never a one-man show. It's a collaborative, I think, cohesive event when a coordinator's doing his job. If he's coming in early and scripting everything by himself and leaving everybody else to kind of wonder what's going on, you usually have a group that has good days and bad days. This group is consistent, and it's because they all work together and everybody has a role. And credit to Mike's leadership and his ability to bring everybody in to the process. And then, his play calling. He matches play calls to players, gets the ball to playmakers, and that's what this is about. This is not about plays, this is about players. And I think he's hit both of those out of the park.
Just as for instance, about play calling, think about this specifically. One of the plays that this LSU offense has run pretty consistently this year is the jet motion with the shovel pass. A lot of people are calling it a pop pass. Maybe that's what you call it. We in our terminology when I played, this was 25 years ago, but a pop pass was just a quick pass to the tight end over the middle. Maybe this is called a pop pass, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The play where the receiver's in motion, it's a shotgun snap, and Jaden just shovels the pass forward to the receiver in motion. They've run that with Aaron Anderson. They've run it with Malik Neighbors. They've run it with Brian Thomas. The point being, you've run that play with no less than 3 different players already at this point of the season, so you are not predictable by personnel. It's not so much as to say if Aaron Anderson's in the game, they're running that play, or if Brian Thomas is in motion, they're not running that play. Now you have to respect it every time. That's the creativity that you continue to see in the layers of this offense, which are so fun to watch, which make it fun to watch. Last week, we threw a ton of bouquets to Joe Sloan, and he deserves it. Joe Sloan has done an amazing job, in particular, working with the quarterback's accuracy, and that is clearly manifest over 2 years. It's also worth noting the job Mike Denbrock has done. As Brian Kelly said, it's collaborative. It's getting all of these people's opinions involved, these very smart coaches, to come with a collaborative effort that you could see manifest on Saturday nights, and boy, it has been fun to watch this year. So salute to this great offensive staff. Yes, we talked about Sloan last week, and certainly Mike Denbrock deserves his bouquets as well for what LSU's been able to do so far. Top 5 in the country and everything that matters right now. We still have a season to go. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. Hey, look, maybe as we're heading toward the holidays, maybe your son or your daughter is going to get their first vehicle. I could not recommend highly enough a Volkswagen. If it's a Jetta or a Passat, maybe it's the Tiguan or the Taos. If you're looking for that fun-sized SUV, something that's affordable, which you'll like, something that's fun to drive, which they'll like, and we're talking about the safest vehicles on the road. All the IIHS top safety picks for all the models, the highest safety designation that you can get. The peace of mind of the safety of a Volkswagen, the great German engineering, manufactured right here in the US of A at their Tennessee plant. It's South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, great to have you aboard with us here, man. It's been a fun show. I love when the studio's all lit up with green, with all the John Deere stuff when we're powered by sunshine here. It's just we got a tractor on the set. It's a fun day, man. We love talking football, and it's been a really good day. So if you missed Scott Shanley last hour, he was awesome. We talked some Saints. I would highly recommend you go catch that on demand. Let me knock out a quick break. Hopefully we get Sean Salisbury this hour. Fingers crossed. When we come back, I think you'll find this interesting. ESPN's FPI has projected through all their simulations the upcoming draft order. And that obviously matters just because it's projecting where teams are going to finish in this NFL season. What this says about the NFC South, I think is pretty fascinating. We'll get to it next on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, two great hotel properties in Baton Rouge. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. We've been telling you about Tallulah inside the Renaissance. I am so excited to be able to finally tell you about this. Renaissance at Tallulah, or Tallulah at the Renaissance, excuse me, are unveiling their Evenings at the Renaissance series. It's going to be exquisitely paired food, cocktail and beer stations coming up next week on the 25th, which I believe is Wednesday. Let me make sure I have the date right. It's Wednesday the 25th at Tallulah. They will have a cocktail and beer stations featuring Noel Family Distillers and Rally Cap Brewing. They'll have live music with Bryce Broussard. If you want you want to see the menu or purchase tickets, go to TallulahRestaurant.com. That's TallulahRestaurant.com, or check out the Renaissance Hotel's social media.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Congratulations to Dean Larrick. Dean is our Week 7 winner in the 2023 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em Contest and wins a Twin Peaks gift card. Don't forget to make your picks for Week 8 by noon on Thursday. Play the 2023 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em today at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, Muse.
Hey, Skunk.
Where's my tractor song?
I mean, I have another set. We just did one. I was
Come on,
spacing
bro.
it out a little bit
Tractor
there.
songs. I want tractor songs.
Yeah.
We're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Yeah, we said 1 an hour.
I want tractor songs.
We've hit both of them today, and I got another segment here. It was coming. I got one in the bank.
I want more. I want more tractor songs.
All right. Well, all right. Okay. Yeah. We'll do that. Get more tractor songs.
Right now.
Oh, all right. Well, hold on. I didn't have one pulled up there.
Muse. Every Tuesday, bro. We're powered by Sunshine.
I know that.
Just have them ready. Push a button. Let's go. Tractor song. Tractor song.
Okay.
Never mind. I'll just move on. You're killing my vibe, bro. Look, I'm wearing the John Deere hat.
I know. I tell you all the time, it's a great hat.
Muse. How do you not have tractor songs ready to go?
Well,
my vibe is killed. Save it. Just save it. You killed my vibe. I'll move on. We'll come to the tractor song next segment. All right. Waiting on Sean Salisbury. We'll see if we can snag him. I know a lot of people. I keep repeating that, I know, but there's a lot of people who maybe knocking off of work this time, and you jump aboard, and you're expecting to hear Sean. He's flying today, so we thought we were going to have him. Plane was delayed, so when he lands, if he can jump aboard, he will. ESPN, they ran their FPI, which I'm sure you know is their football power index. And it's a simulation where they plug all the numbers into their algorithm, and they run simulation. So it's for season results or game results. And in this instance, they did it for NFL draft order, right, based on what your final record would be and your order of finish. And they ran the simulation for the 2024 draft order predictions. The Bears, number one, and that's the Bears via Carolina. Remember, so Carolina traded with the Bears last year to go to number one overall to take Bryce Young. I won't spoil the lead or bury the lead here. They have the Saints picking 19th. And if you're looking for a reason for optimism around the New Orleans Saints, this is it. You might say to yourself, Matt, what does that matter for anything? Well, of course, the order of finish maps to what they're projecting for the division. I just told you they've got Carolina with the worst record in the league picking first overall, but obviously that pick goes to Chicago. They got the Atlanta Falcons picking 16th, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers one spot behind the Falcons at 17th. And I mentioned they got the Saints at 19th. Read between the lines. FPI is picking the Saints to win this division. I just checked DraftKings, and DraftKings has the Saints still as the odds-on favorite to win the NFC South. Now, it's all very close, and as you could tell based on these projections, FPI is picking the Falcons, their average draft position at 15.9, so right about 16. The Bucs, their average draft position is 16.4 when they run the simulations, and for the Saints, it's 17.6. So they're all right there. I mean, they're all in a very, very narrow window, and it's probably something where they'd be a game apart, or it would come down to tiebreakers. Now, remember, Tampa already beat the Saints once, so they beat the Saints in New Orleans. We'll see if how healthy Baker Mayfield is, what that may mean moving forward, whatever. But the point being, when Scott Shanley was with us last hour, one of the things that he said was for any NFL organization, their job is to give their franchise and their fan base hope. And I could steal the line from Shawshank. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope will drive a man crazy. And I believe that because the hope of making the playoffs with this team could blind you from the realities facing this team and the shortcomings facing this team. But there's also the possibility that does exist that you could get hot and go on a run like we've seen other wild card teams do in the wild card era. The 2007 Giants are the best example of that. They beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl. Those Giants were 9-7, got in as a wild card. They lost to New England in the final weekend of the regular season, got hot, met them again in the Super Bowl, and beat them. So, yes, if you just get in, you could always go on that run, although I don't know that I could say that that's likely or probable. But if you're looking for your optimism, that's it right there. One of the things that I've sort of lobbied for, or I mentioned as a possibility for New Orleans, is if you were to try to tank, for lack of a better phrase, and if you were going to be a seller at the deadline, it would be to accumulate draft assets. Now, the problem with that for the Saints right now is they don't have tradable contracts. That we went through it yesterday if you weren't here. Basically, any player that you would be thinking in your head, hey, that's someone we could trade for, to get draft assets, they have a contract that's not tradable because you've done the whole thing where you rework contracts, and in the way you've restructured deals, you've built up so much dead cap liability to where you can't trade those contracts. Like Cam Jordan's got $60 million of dead money on his deal, meaning if he's not on your team, it would cost you $60 million against the cap. You would just never do that. So he's not tradable. But one of the reasons that could play into the Saints' favor is, remember, you do have the Denver Broncos second-round pick via the Sean Payton deal. And FPI projects the Denver Broncos to pick third overall. And so if Denver finishes there and picks third in round 1, that means they would also have the 35th pick of the draft, the third pick of round 2. So if you're the Saints, just hypothetically, I'm just using FPI here to boil it all down. If you're the Saints and this all plays out this way, you would, in theory, have the 19th pick overall and the 35th pick. You'd have the third pick in round number 2. So you'd have 2 top 35 picks, and you could use those to draft potentially 2 starters, or you could do what the Saints always do, which is package picks to move up and maybe take your franchise quarterback in a year in which there would seem to be plenty of options to take a franchise quarterback, a potential franchise quarterback in round 1. The question really is, while the Saints are financially committed to Derek Carr, now that they've had him in the building, do they really see Derek Carr as the guy that's going to lead them? And something you're going to hear me say a lot moving forward is the Saints need to draft their franchise quarterback in this year's draft because it's not Derek Carr. You need to draft a franchise quarterback, bring them in while you have Derek Carr on this contract, give your rookie a redshirt year the way Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes when they had Alex Smith there. They weren't winning a Super Bowl with Alex Smith. They weren't competing for a championship with Alex Smith. But it gave Mahomes a year to sit and watch and learn and grow, and then you played your franchise, and it's worked out well. By the way, they drafted Mahomes 10th overall. Is it plausible to think that the Saints could move up somewhere around the 10th pick of this year's draft and get a quarterback and get an elite level quarterback in this year's draft? I mean, I think so. When you look at the depth of the quarterback class in this draft class, I mean, Mel Kiper's top 10 quarterbacks in this year's draft class are Caleb Williams, number 1, Drake May, number 2, and I'm just looking at his most updated quarterback rankings. Here's your top 10. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Shadur Sanders, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Quinn Ewers, Riley Leonard, Jaden Daniels, Michael Pratt. That's your top 10, according to Mel Kiper. What if you could snag Michael Penix with the 10th pick? Would you be in? You would be interested in that, now wouldn't you? I would be. Tell me drafting Michael Penix somewhere around the top 10 wouldn't inject life and energy and hope and promise into this organization, into this franchise, into the fan base for the future. Yeah, I'd be down with that, as I think many of you would as well. We know what the Saints are. I mean, they're a team that's going to trade up. That's what they do. And I hate that we're sitting here in week 7, and I'm already looking ahead to the draft. It just so happens that today the FPI put out their projected draft order, which got me thinking about it. But if this Saints team goes on a run, wins the division, gets in the playoffs, great. It's way more fun to be playing meaningful games in January than not playing meaningful games in January. But regardless of whether this team is playing meaningful games in January or not, I think the realization most are coming to is, as you are assembled with Derek Carr as your quarterback and Dennis Allen as your coach, you're not winning a championship. So you've got to address that and address it sooner than later. All right. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. You can always email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet us or hit us on the X.
Hey, Twitter. Oh, no, not Twitter. Hey, X world. At
Matt Moscona. Or you can jump in the Body Ford YouTube chat or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. We appreciate you for being here with us. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. Had a little ding on my dashboard today. Time for an oil change. So you know where I'm going. Shaw Bills. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. Ask about the Shaw Bills credit card. First, if you use the Shaw Bills credit card, the first time you ever use it, you get $50 off any purchase. So it's essentially like if you get an oil change, you get a free oil change. They'll run your card for like $1, so that way they could run it. But you essentially get a free oil change. Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. Go to the website, hit the promotions tab at the top. You'll see all the great specials for tires, name brand tires at wholesale prices. They'll work so hard to combine the manufacturer's offer with their in-house offer to make sure they can get you the best price possible on the best tires on the road. It's Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break, circle back to some of what Brian Kelly had to say previewing the LSU Army game this weekend, including some of the really questionable penalties, like that disconcerting signals call that's blowing everybody's mind the last 2 weeks. Brian Kelly cracked a few jokes about it on Monday. I want to circle back to it and what LSU might do to avoid those in the future. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. I tell you all the time to go to getgordon.com. But what I would really encourage you to do right now is go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com. Gordon Gives is the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And we've talked about it for as long as we've talked about Gordon here, is how he works so hard to give back to our communities, whether it's, of course, the NIL deals he's done with the members of the G team, if it's the bike giveaways around the holidays, or breast cancer awareness, so much that Gordon's done, and many of the charitable donations that they've made. Remember, every week during this football season, Gordon's giving away autographed footballs signed by members of the G team, like Greg Brooks, Harold Perkins, Garrett Nussmeier. You can go to the website, GordonGives.com, GordonGives.com. Hit the autograph football tab right there. You see the entry form. Every week they're giving away a free autographed football. Go to GordonGives.com. Get Gordon. Get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast.
John Deere tractor in a half-acre field, trying to plow a furrow where the soil is made of steel. How I wish I...
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
And the sweet country boys don't complain.
Man, I feel like Crawl and Son-in-Law. Is that an awful reference?
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know Son-in-Law?
No, what is that?
See, I'm very aware of that. I try to be very aware of this, Muse. I don't like doing dated pop culture references because you lose a giant chunk of your audience. I never want to be the guy that's referencing movies and shows and pop culture that half my audience doesn't know.
Sure, makes sense.
Son-in-Law was an awful movie, but that was actually pretty great with Pauly Shore. 93, 94-ish, somewhere early 90s. Hell, that was when you were born. Anyway, he's from California. This girl from the Midwest goes to school in California. She goes home on Thanksgiving break, and she brings her hippie California friend, Pauly Shore, with her back to the farm in Iowa or wherever they're from. And so it's basically like California boy goes to the farm, and anyway, he's wearing, cowboy hats and...
Yeah, this sounds awful, actually.
It's hilarious. It's Pauly Shore in the 90s. It was great poll question. Did you like the movie Son-in-Law? But then people who never saw it. What is this song, Muse? I'm not gonna.
This is John Deere Tractor by the Judds.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Muse. I mean, I love the idea of tractor songs because of our.
It's your idea, yeah.
I know, but I hate country music. I loathe everything about country music.
It's so interesting.
I hate country music.
That's how it is for everybody, though, right? You either love it or you hate it. There's no
right
in between.
Now is whiny, weepy drivel. Like, I cannot believe they actually recorded this song. I cannot believe human people recorded that, and there are other human people that sold it and turned this or bought it and turned that into a hit song.
Well, I mean, in the Judds, they were pretty big there.
I'm sure they were.
That's classic.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's classic. That's the thing. This is a little older country too.
Yeah, let's not do that anymore. We find something with some energy.
I mean, it's a song called John Deere Tractor. It kind of fits the bill, though. I mean, does any song fit the bill more for a John Deere sponsorship than John Deere Tractor?
What was the one you played last week from Keith Urban that had John Deere in it?
That's true. John Cougar, John Deere, and John 316.
Boom. Nailed it. That one fits better.
Yeah, the Australian guy who sings country music.
Yeah. Go buy you a John Deere. Remember zero-turn mowers and all that stuff? So residential, they got you covered as well. Sunshine. All right, I'm done with this song. This song has got to go. Never again. Put that on the banned list, okay?
Okay. The Judds are banned.
Not B-A-N-D, as in the music.
Yeah.
Banned. B-A-N-N-E-D. Yes,
Gotcha.
banned.
Gotcha.
Yes, it's banned forever. I'd never want to hear that song again. Oh, my God. That was awful. Banned like Urban Meyer from college football. Did you hear this? Urban Meyer was talking to the Knoxville quarterback club. Why was Urban
Dude, I thought the same thing.
Why was Urban Meyer at the Knoxville quarterback club?
That square peg, round hole.
The Little Rock Quarterback Club always gets good guests. Coach O has spoken at the Little Rock Quarterback Club. They always seem to get big guests. I didn't know the Knoxville Quarterback Club was the type that was going to pull Herb down there, but they did. Urban was asked about coaching again. His quote, per the Knoxville News Sentinel, quote, "I am good. I never really took a day off. People, when I say that, they scratch their head. I'm like, I never took a day off. I had some health stuff go on. I became addicted to sleeping pills. I was just a maniac worker. So the first year or so, I was kind of like, wake up and want to go coach a team, but no desire. So no desire. The last time he coached was 2 years ago with Jacksonville, went 2-11, was fired. I actually believe him because he scratched the NFL itch. The one thing, though, that I look at and I go, he's 59. His kids are grown. He's got grandkids now. Do you get to a point where the competitive juices flow again and you want to get back in after recharging the battery? Sean Payton is a great example of that. And there's plenty of examples of coaches that got out and can't stay out. For what it's worth, when Steve Spurrier left Florida and went to the Washington Redskins and then was fired, he went to South Carolina at age 60. Urban Meyer is 59. So, and Spurrier had a great run at South Carolina from 2007 to 2015. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Urban Meyer could jump back in. But if he were going to jump back in, I understand why it wouldn't be now, and it sure wouldn't be at Michigan State. If you're Urban Meyer, why would you want that job? Like, if you're Urban Meyer, the only thing that I think could maybe lure him back in would be a top 5 job. Like, if A&M fires Jimbo and they go, Herb, here's a blank check. How much you want in your NIL coffers? Here it is. Got your new stadium. We got facilities. You got the state of Texas. You got the SEC. You got everything you want. You've been in the SEC before. Here you go. Here's a blank check. Here's your fully funded NIL collective to get whatever you need. Come on. Would you look at that? I think he would. How do you not? Like, I can understand if you're Urban Meyer, you don't take Michigan State's call. If you're Urban Meyer, you do take Texas A&M's call. You do take, well, I would say Florida's call, but they've been down that road. If it was Southern Cal or something like that, Texas. I'm not saying these jobs are open or will be open, but those are the kinds of jobs that I think if you're Urban Meyer, you do take it for the reason that you would have the opportunity to do something that's never been done before, which is win a championship at 3 different schools. I mean, we've seen coaches have Herb's had undefeated seasons at 3 different schools. He was undefeated at Utah, at Florida, and at Ohio State. But he's won a championship at 2. Could you win a championship at 3? That's something not even Nick has done. LSU, Bama, could he win it at 3? That's really the challenge of the task. All right, time for further review. Man, I had a great day today. Dropped off Drew at school, popped down to New Orleans, Harahan to be exact. Went and saw my friends over at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. I got to be very clear. Make sure I say Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Some of y'all misheard weighing. When I would say Michelli Weighing and Measurement, some people heard Wang.
I don't know. I didn't. When you say that,
of course,
yeah.
Why would you hear that? Unless if you're T-Bob, why would you hear that?
That's a good point.
But Michelli's great, man. So they expanded their calibration lab in Harahan, and y'all, it is gorgeous, man. It's such an impressive operation to see a business that's 76 years old, that was born in New Orleans, has grown to 32 locations now in 11 different states, and has international ambitions. I say it all the time. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. It was really cool. So Sean McMullen, who played baseball at LSU, his dad, Joel, is the president CEO. Sean works as an account executive. And Sean was doing demonstrations with a lot of the equipment today. So, think potato chips. You know, when you open a bag of potato chips, it takes an amount of force to open the chips. Well, that has to be calibrated for all those bags, the amount of force it would take to open potato chips. So you don't do it and you pull really hard and boom, it rips apart and everything flies up in the air. Or what did he use? Perforation on toilet paper. How much force should it take to be able to cleanly tear toilet paper along the perforation? Things like that. They do all of that. I mean, they work with companies like Lysol. It's insane. Giant companies all over the world. It's Michelle. It's Michelle Weighing and Measurement. Michelle.com. Michelle.com. Okay. It's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll get to Otter locks. Jimmy will be aboard with us. Otter had a split last night. We missed on the NFL game. There we go. But he hit with the Phillies last night. Phillies got up 4-0 and took it home 5-3. So a 1-1 night for the Otter. So, there was a fella, Muse, who texted me last night on the show text line. Let me see if I can find it.
A fella. I love it.
There was a fella. Where was this fella?
Can't find.
Anyway, well, basically, he just said Jimmy Ott's picks stink, is what he said. I was like, that's factually inaccurate.
Yeah, that's
like,
wrong.
If all you did was just bet the Monday night game, or you bet like one time, like that's on you for being inconsistent. If you actually want to find profitability, which is very hard to do in sports betting, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. You have to be even with your bets as well. You can't do like I did foolishly, get way up on Saturday, then go into Sunday and be like, yes, Colts, throw everything on the Colts.
Yeah,
No, that's not what you do.
Out well.
That's not what you do. You bet evenly across the day. So you know what I did on Sunday? I had a 5-2 day. You know what we call that?
Profitability.
Yep. Yes, sir. That's
but
that
what
is.
you do is if you lose a bunch, you bet a lot the next day to get it back.
No, don't do that. No.
That's
don't,
how it works.
See, Muse, like what you're doing there is tongue in cheek, and I know it, and I appreciate and respect the joke. There's a lot of people listening who don't understand that, and especially in a sports betting culture now where we are endorsing sports betting apps where there are legal disclaimers encouraging people not to gamble excessively, and if they do, that there are helplines. We do not need to encourage people in a joking manner to do that.
Got to get the coin back.
No, you don't. 877-770-STOP. Muse. Otter locks. No, you're not saying anything else. I don't need legalities. I don't need HR knocking on the door. Did you say no? It was Muse. Fire him. All right, Otter locks is next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Y'all, we are getting into that time of year. Oh, and I know what you're thinking. Holiday season? Who sells their home during the holidays? Lots of people, because November is a giant real estate month in our market because people want to be in their new home for the holidays. If that's you, act now. Call Darren James. Don't waste time. Don't waste money. Don't go it alone. You need a realtor, so call the best. Darren James, on the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1,000 realtors in America, number 54 in the country. And that's not subjective. That's not arbitrary. That's based on the number of transactions. That's Darren James. And Darren has his guaranteed sale program. If you're looking to sell your home, call Darren James. You'll agree to a price and a deadline. If he doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash, or he'll sell it free for his half of the commission.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Love telling you about our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I will be on a tractor on Thursday, so make sure you got the Insta, the IG as the kids call it there, Muse. Make sure you got it. See Scone in a tractor. I think I'm gonna sing the
wearing overalls with a straw hat, maybe a little pearl snap shirt.
I am gonna sing. Boots. I am going to sing. She thinks my tractor's sexy. That's going to happen. All right, one thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the incomprehensible, the 1-1 last night. Ott Father himself. Otter, how are you?
Doing good, man. You got a busy schedule today.
I know.
Busy plate, baby.
Okay, good. So we got 3 college football games. We got MLB tonight. We got a lot. So fire away with whatever you want.
All right, let's get to it. First of all, in the football, Liberty first-year head coach. We had him last week, Jamie Chadwell. He's getting more and more of a handle on his new team this year. They're kind of getting better with every week. They're at home against a struggling Middle Tennessee State tonight. So we do like them a little bit there. So I'm looking at 15.5, 16.
Looking at 16 on DraftKings.
Okay. 16 there. All right. Western Kentucky quarterback Austin Reed. Western Kentucky goes to Jacksonville State. They're 7.5-point road favorites. Total is 60 at DraftKings. Look, man, he's back for a senior year. Another one of those super seniors. Decided to not enter the transfer portal. 4,250 yards last year, 36 TDs. He's back. They're throwing it in. Rich Rod is lightning at 5-2 at Jacksonville State. Liberty kind of leaned on him last week and played keep away. Also, they're one of the fastest teams. They love to go fast, averaging close to 75 snaps a game on offense. I'm looking for the over 60 in that one.
Okay.
And then my contacts in Hattiesburg telling me, look, man, this offensive line is not good. Woeful, to say the least. So we're going to put a small play on the under Southern Miss in South Alabama. You're looking at something around 51.5.
51.5, yeah. So.
All right, but this is what I'm doing also with the stuff tonight. Phillies about 160 right now. We're going to ride the hot hand of NOLA. I think this is the best team, even with Texas not even losing a game right now. Phillies, again, very tough to beat at home. But we're going to do Phillies money line, Liberty money line,
South Alabama money line, it's right around even money. So instead of laying that juice, we're going to include Liberty and South Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama money.
Now we're talking,
1 minute
Otter.
remaining.
Let's get creative to find them winners. Winner, chicken dinner. Let's get it, man.
Kick the field goal right here. Kick the field goal right here. You got to kick it right here. You got to kick it right here.
I was losing it. I'm like, Otter's live calling his play. He's play-by-play live. You just interrupted Paul Nolan mid-answer, too. Paul Nolan's in the middle of some answer. We're talking about Football Sunday for those that missed it. Otter was sweating out the London game, and he just interrupts Paul Nolan mid-answer. Come on, man. Kick that field goal. Come on, Harbaugh. Oh, it was a beautiful thing. All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow, man?
Tomorrow, man, open air at Modesto.
Awesome.
Soaking up this beautiful weather. Come on over and see us, man, out on the patio tomorrow.
Awesome. All right, Otter, we appreciate it, man. Good luck tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, be well. That's Jimmy Ott. Amuse Pauly, I appreciate you. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Getting on down the road, let me remind you about the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. Remember, hormone replacement therapy, if you've ever thought about feeling better, you want to feel like your younger self. Certainly you can look like your younger self as well. There's plenty of those options. But remember, so many of us, as we age, we don't even realize how bad we feel until we start feeling good again. And hormone replacement therapy, a simple blood test, can let you know if you're a candidate. So, schedule that consultation with Dr. Todd Howell. It's a simple blood draw and a consultation. I'll let you know if they can safely and affordably supplement you to get you back to feeling like your younger self. It's the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and theantiagingclinics.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family, a front-to-back boat